Well, today is Monday. This is I'm just about to leave Wyoming port of entry. Plus 41 Celsius. Man, like it's impossible to drive without AC, and the truck heats up, man. So I was putting my pusher axle down, I was activating my 4x4 because the drive axle was heating up as well. Now check this out, bought some fancy bracelets here in Montana. I like these, you know. Anyway, my steer axle was 1,000 pounds heavier than what I thought it is. But my drives, I think I asked him for 34,000 pounds. It was only 30,000 pounds. So yeah, I just need to, I moved the fifth wheel on the truck too far forward. So these guys actually gave me the permit because I told them I'm gonna put down the lift axle, and so I know now I'm okay. And actually the guy says, well, you're almost in trouble there. I said, why is that? He says, well, in Wyoming, you have to have all axles down. Whatever you have, if you have an oversized load, all your axles must be on the ground. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, but I wasn't aware of this. Like, these rules,
meters, turn left onto WY 339.
You know, these rules are not written anywhere. It's kind of like I got that ticket where in South Dakota, they had the same rule, but it's not written up anywhere. It's like I have a book. I told the guy, I said, I have a book about, you know, all the permits and all the rules for every state, and I said there was nothing about this for Wyoming. I'm sorry. I said I don't have an issue. All I have to do is just push one button, you know. I said I was actually driving with the pusher axle down because my axles were heating up.
Left onto WY 339, then turn right onto the ramp to Sheridan.
I mean on heels, right? I said on heels I was putting the pusher axle down, and so the guy was nice. He didn't give me a ticket. And then another issue, he says you are 19,000 on the steer. I'm like, what?
Turn right onto the ramp to Sheridan.
How am I so heavy on the steer? But turns out I'm heavy on the steer, not enough heavy on the drives. But now they gave me the permit anyway, because like I said, I put the pusher axle down, so now I'm driving on 11 axles. But I already have my Colorado permit,
Merge onto I-90 East.
and over there I checked it, and I asked them for 18,000 on the steer. So basically what I'm gonna do is, right before I enter Colorado, I'm just gonna move my fifth wheel closer to the drives, because now the guy says you have 19 on the steer but only 30,000 on the drive. So my Colorado permit is good for 34,000 on the drives. So I can move the fifth wheel, you know, like 2 or 3 feet towards the back, and that would take care of that heavy weight. Oh, and also another thing, that's funny thing happened is that when I was in Billings, right, I left the truck stop, I filled up over there. It was like 565 or something a gallon. I filled up and I'm leaving the truck stop, everything is cool. Now I have very good understanding of how the truck performs because I've been doing all these, you know, U-turns and turns. I feel very confident now with this 3+2. No big deal, you know. After a few days behind the wheel of this monster, you get used to it. And like I mentioned before, it actually turns. It turns almost the same way as 3+1, even though it's longer. But the tandem actually steers harder than a single axle boost. So anyway, I'm leaving, and then you turn left from the intersection over there, and then you have to turn right towards the ramp. It says, the sign says I-90 East. But right before, I mean right after that turn, there's a bridge, and the sign says 14 feet 4 inches. And I'm getting ready to turn right here before the bridge, and all of a sudden I see a light pop up. There was like a sign there, you know, for overheight loads, and the sign says overheight load, take the ramp on the right. I'm like, wait a second, am I really taller than 14.4? Because this machine is 12.3, and I know my loaded deck height is 22 inches, basically 1 foot minus 2 inches. So 12.3 plus 2 is 14.3, minus 2 should be 14.1, right? Like, how am I over 14.4? And so then I stop here. Yeah, you see, right away it's the fan comes on. Well, it's because of air conditioning, but like I said, I cannot drive without air conditioning. It's just way too hot. So now it's plus 39. I asked the guy in the office inside, I said, is it normal weather like this? Is it always hot like this in July? And he just started laughing. He says, oh no, oh no. And of course they're wearing the vests. Man, there was a girl and a guy. But very nice, you know, didn't give me a ticket, right? But anyway, so they check my length, they check my width, and most importantly, the lady came out with a, you know, height pole, like the folding thing, and she checked the height, and she says, you're 14.6. I'm like, what? I don't think I'm 14.6. I said, I was looking in the mirror when you were lowering that horizontal bar, and I said I saw it was at an angle, because you know there's a cage protector on the top, and it was difficult for her to see that from the ground, and so I don't think I'm 14.6, but it's a bit scary. But why this happened, I can tell you why. Can you guys guess? Because before I did that, before I loaded the piling rig, remember I did that video where Alan and me, we were changing the shims in the deck, and that's what you gotta be extremely careful with, you know. So now I have the biggest shim in the deck, and of course what that does, it lifts your deck. Like, that's perfect for, you know, let's say 110, 115, 120,000 pounds, because that helps to transfer the weight to the rear of the trailer. But when you have a big weight, of course it pushes down, so you're fine. But now, because this thing is only 90,000 pounds, my deck became much taller, you know, and I cannot change it because that bolt, it's really bad. If you remember, I had very hard time turning it, and you know, after we changed the shim. Oh, which reminds me, I couldn't find those bolts, right? I want to replace those bolts, but I couldn't find them in Canada, so I called Hale Trailer in New Jersey, and they found them, and they said they're about $250 US. So I should probably call them, because I forgot Friday, because they wanted my credit card. Oh yeah, one trick I found with these mountains is that if I keep my boost at 20 psi, everything is honky-dory, nothing is heating up, the oil is not heating up, the coolant is not heating up. But if I go to 30, like maximum, you know, everything starts heating up. And so that's why I just take it easy on the throttle, even though I can go faster, but I can't, because then things will start exploding. So now, for example, I'm probably 18 psi, and I see my RPM goes up, so which means that I can shift, right? But if I see that at 20 psi my RPM goes down, then I downshift. That's the thing, because it's a, you know, this load pulls me back like crazy on hills, and plus now it's plus 38 Celsius. But yeah, that's the key in this hot weather is just watch your boost. I wish I would have my you know, what is that temperature gauge that I had it on the Mac, but on this one I don't have it. You know, like how hot is it inside the engine, the manifold temperature, because that's also very important in a heat like this. But that's why I'm constantly monitoring my oil temperature, my coolant temperature, my boost, the temperature in my drives. So that's the drive axle and then the second axle, and then also my transmission temperature. But so far I've been very careful and didn't have a single time when they touched the red area. You know, as soon as I see that, like usually oil starts heating up, I just downshift, reduce the boost, and right away it cools down. But it really doesn't like 30 psi, you know, pulling upwards at maximum boost. So now I'm driving south on 90, and then I'm switching to 25. But then there's a huge detour, 150 miles in Casper. Once I reach Casper, like, you know, from your standpoint, I'm going down like this, right? And then when I reach Casper, I have to go like this, all the way west towards the mountains, and then south and back east because of the, I don't know, maybe like 40-mile stretch on I-25. It's all construction, and I'm too wide. And so because of that, I'm doing 150 miles. And the worst part is that because it's secondary roads, like I don't need pilots. 113, I told them 113 feet 10 inches my length, like honestly. And I don't need pilots on the freeway. But guess what? As soon as I go on the secondary road, on a two-lane road, I need 2 pilots. Son of a gun. So I went to US Pilot Directory, uspilotcardirectory.com, made a few calls, and found a lady right in Casper. And I got lucky. I said, can we do anything today? Or does it have to be tomorrow morning? Because, you know, usually it's difficult to book pilots on the same day, but she said, no, we can do it today. What time are you thinking? I said, well, I'll call you when I leave port of entry, but I think it'll take me like 6 hours. I called her from Billings. And from Billings, it was like 270 miles to Casper. I said, it'll take me probably 6 hours with all of these mountains. And I said, let's do a tentative start at 4 p.m. local time. And so then when I was leaving she asked me to call her when I'm leaving the port of entry. And I was leaving at 12 o'clock local time, and it's basically 40 miles. I said, hey, actually my estimate was perfect. You know, I said, I'll be there probably around 3:30. And we agreed to meet on the ramp, because when I leave I-25, right before Casper, there's a bypass, what is it, US 20 or 26, something like that. Well, let the fun begin. This is Casper. I just left Casper. I met up with 2 of my pilots. There's Tammy in the front, Terry in the back. I need 2 pilots, and I'm doing a huge loop because there's construction south of Casper, and they don't want me there. this was a pretty big pool. I asked them how hilly is this road. They said, well, they're gonna be one bad one, about 7%. And I said, is this one that we just did? And they said, no, that one is much worse. Man, I'm telling you, I lost count how many hills I climbed like in third gear, you know, because I can go faster, but like I was saying, I have to keep my boost at no more than 20 psi, otherwise the oil, that's the worst spot, that I don't want oil to hit the red zone there. But they were saying that this, yeah, they were saying that this road is not too bad, so I'm just morally getting ready for that 7% pool. But you know, I did so many of them, I'm pretty comfortable. I can do anything. If need be, I'll go in first gear as long as I keep my turbo at 20 psi. And then I turn on my fan and I turn off the AC, because now it's plus 37 Celsius, but the truck is pulling pretty good. Oh, and they said right where we finish US 30 and we jump US 30 to I-80, right? And then I-80 takes me back to I-25, and so the last segment I need the pilots on is that US 30, because it's considered a secondary road. But once I hit I-80, that's it, I don't need them. And they said, oh, there's a huge petrol truck stop right there at US 30 and I-80. And I said, oh, perfect, let's stop there and I'll give you my credit card. So they're charging me $350 US per car, so $700 US.
Shoulder on the bridge.
10-4. So the $700, but for some reason when I used my oversize.io website, you know, when I was estimating the cost of permits, it said I don't need pilots in Wyoming. But now I know why. Like, you don't need them in Wyoming with my length 113 if you stay on interstate highways. But if they send you like this on these roads, you need pilots, right? And so that software did not know that there's construction, right? Yeah, you see, I have to slow down because there's oil temperature goes into the last segment like a few degrees more and it'll be a red zone. Why? Because my boost is at 30 psi. Well, yeah, for them I understand, you know, like a pickup truck, right? So they don't feel this, but I see the truck slow down right away. But it's funny, I've been in this Casper, if you guys remember. I was here in winter. I was here in winter picking up some kind of an excavator, and it was going to I'm pretty sure it was going to Thunder Bay. It was super cold, everything was covered in snow, and I remember that Highway 26, that's where my shipper was. And I got stuck a few times there in the snow, and they had to pull me out. Thunder Bay, man, that was like minus 30 Celsius. Yeah, you see, like I'm looking at the boost, 30 psi. No, that's too much. Still too much. So yeah, by the time we finish this little detour, should just kill the AC because that overheats the engine. I see that's just too much, 30 psi, and I see the oil temperature just goes through the roof. Coolant is at 220. You can probably boil an egg now. If you put an egg on the hood, it's gonna boil. But this is so beautiful, you know. I would love to come here again with my Dodge Charger. That would be awesome.
We're going to merge, go off to the right here.
Так, what is this? 220. So we're going on 220, right?
Yep.
220 and then 487. a very very long detour. The good news is that when I'm going down, I'm going fast because of the weight.
Left lane's clear if you need it.
Paperwork said it's 150 miles, like this detour. So that would take, at 60 miles an hour, right, that would take 2.5 hours, but because I'm so slow on heels, it'll probably take 3.5 hours. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna stop there at that Petra. I'm gonna stop for the night. Yeah, it helps right away. I noticed the difference. It helps when you turn off the AC. It probably would help even more if I turned on the hot air, but then I'm gonna cook in here.
Left lane is closed. You'll be clear to merge when we get up there.
I can do just the fan, recirculating air, because it's still a bit cool in here, right, because of the air conditioning. Yeah, 487. Wind gusts 50 miles per hour, 10 miles ahead. It's so cool to use local guides, right? Because they're from Casper, so they know all these roads. I'm guessing this is not the first time they take oversized loads on this detour. But this also gives my engine a chance to cool down a little bit, because yeah, the temperature is just hovering, the oil temperature. So I guess we stay on this one for quite some time, right? What, 60 miles, 70 miles?
Yeah, we'll be on around. This is the road that's got the big climb. Takes something like 70, 75 miles on this road.
72 to Medicine Bow, and then right on 30.
Alright, then we switch on 30 to go back, right?
Yeah, 30 will take us right to Wyoming.
That hill they were talking about. It's really long and it doesn't look like much, but it's very, oh man, it's like probably a couple of miles. Like all my gauges are, I'm just watching, I'm at 20 psi on the boost, and this is gear 4 low. If I see that, so I'm keeping the RPM at about 1530, and I turned on my 4x4, so now 2 axles are driving, just to make it easy. Oh man, look at that over there, it's like this. Jesus. truck is picking up speed. You guys see this? It was 1650, then 1680, now it's 1780. But I'm afraid to shift because when I was in third gear, I noticed the temperature started climbing like crazy. Then as soon as I went into first gear and I dropped my PSI below 20, see now it's like 12 PSI only. So it's very easy for the truck. And so now it's already 1800 RPM. So I better slow down. It accelerates going uphill. Man, what a great engine, you know. But man, this is nasty, you know, like they're sending oversized loads this way. And this is I'm keeping track of my truck. That blue dot in there I can see. So we're pretty much, this spot is about halfway between Casper and Medicine Bow. And so I think it's from here, it's about 35 miles. 50 kilometers to Medicine Bow, and then we jump on US 30. And I asked these guys, I said, does the road get better after this? And the guy said, oh, a little bit. But he says this is the worst hill on this route. Yeah, I can probably try to upshift. Okay, this is first high. Let's see. Okay, we can go. This is too low. We can go too high. Yeah. How about 3? 3 low. 3 high. Yeah. So that's what I found. That's the best way to keep the truck from overheating, and just keep the boost at 20 or below. Alright, that's it. That's the worst spot I wanted to show you guys. I'll do a video probably later tonight. I'll be at the petrol truck stop. Hopefully they have an area there where I can sit and plug in my laptop to charge it.